All right, party people, we're just gonna get straight to it. All right. So we got a thank you from AR15 Discounts, including a code on the back for extra 15% off, but only if I order in the first month. But it can't be combined with any other offers, so likely I won't be using this. But again, cool. So there's that. And let's see what else is in here. Looks like I got my invoice slip over here. And another sticker here for AR15 discounts. We like those. And before we get to that, two stickers. So we're getting generous out here with the stickers, even though I particularly didn't ask for any. So cool. All right, so that being out the way, let's go ahead and take a look here at what we got. So let me go ahead and show off the box for you. There you go. All right. So a lot of why I bought this was because, well, it was under a significant discount, that's for sure. If I recall correctly, I don't have the pricing over here, but it was about in the 180 area. And for me, that's a really good deal. Still not quite double for what I usually pay for, or what I have been paying for some of the Swap Fox optics that I find out there. Still a very fine deal for the features set. So, if I didn't show you the inside yet, there you go. So, packaging is a bit different from what I'm used to, but nothing bad. I would say immediately out the gate, you could tell there is definitely some more refinement than I usually find with the Swap Fox optics. Definitely leagues above the SIG Romeo Zero optic. So let's see what happens when we take this out here. Okay, so nothing else inside this box over here besides the optic, but the right side box here has everything included. So won't bore you with the project manual, but there that goes. Here's the Shield RMS Picatinny mount. So, well, so this is, at least it seems pretty robust. There you go there. That is a classic RMS mount. I do believe that the footprint I have purchased are the HoloSun K mounts. Should still fit regardless. and probably going to see a ton of screws over here. Okay. If this is not directly my adjustment tool, or at least for mounting the optic, here's your shim plate. And everything's very neatly printed and labeled. Well, mine is this one, of course, but this one should speak for itself. And then we have the typical M4 screws, 6x48, M4s by 07, 6x32, and 3x05, 6x40. And it'll tell you which weapon systems that they are compatible with. So, and they give you the full screw length. So, a lot going on here with the presentation that is pretty much above and beyond from what I'm used to. So, I'll have to give my kudos on that. Now, that being said, I am ready to go from the optic over here. But again, for YouTube purposes, I'm gonna have to off screen the removal process, and then I'll have the new one on immediately. So just give me a sec. So just wanted to pause here real quick just to give you an impression of the pattern system that's being used here, which is the RSMC. And because of this, I just not just realized, but I do have a modified K footprint that is on my MMP 2.0 plates. So I just say that just to mention that if you did pick up any, probably a DPP or from EGW Guns, that more than likely you may have picked up the K-series pattern, of which these two lug nuts are removed and the front ones are shorter in comparison, which would be more in line with the 407 and the 507 K series from HoloSun. So I may end up picking up one of those for my MMP. It depends. I may use that first generation Swamp Fox as well, because that's been working with me on that system as well. It just really depends mostly on how I feel about this optic once I get it set on here. Because basically this is kind of a test for me to see whether I want to upgrade to more expensive optics or am I good with what I have now. But just give me another moment to get this one on and we'll talk about it. Okay, all done here. So there's some immediate remarks I can make. So this has less of a cutout over here than what I featured before, which was on my Glock upper but PSA lower. And this housing, it's much flusher to the optic, which leaves me just enough room to get full lockup on the holster. So there you go. Really nice touch, very sleek, like minimal material design, which is already, I'll say, better design than the, as far as being couture, for lack of a better word, and fitting onto the optic itself. This is much better designed in a minimal way. So that being said, if we remove that, on my installation and switching the screws, I already did a drop test, which was let's say 2 feet, maybe 3 at best. So far, so good. And that drop test was not planned. Let's put it that way. So I did not end up using the same screws as I had before on my Romeo Zero. And previously, it used to be the M305 screws, but turns out a better fit turned out to be the, where are you here? The 632s that are normally for the Smith & Wesson 2.0, but the screw length is 10.8 millimeter. At least that's what worked in my application for my plate adapter, which I'm pretty sure is the DPP plate under the RMS cut. So, trying to get as close as I can here. May have to end up angling this a bit more to me. Get a closer look here. In fact, I'll just move the entire table. There you go. So, looks pretty flush to me. I did end up putting the shim plate because, as the shim plate did mention, you use this to angle the optic slightly to gain elevation for zeroing at less than 15 yards, which I will be zeroing at 15. So, I'm going to take this as a 15 and below. Sorry to be playing around with the camera so much, but I want to give you a really good look at it. And the front end, so it does feel nice to have that texture. And the glass recedes into it, so again, that impromptu drop test that I had done, very impromptu, as I mentioned. Top loaded battery with the tool was not so intuitive to me at first, but then I watched a YouTube short of a guy using it and just threw it right in there, and then it worked out just fine. So, yeah. Looks like we're locked up in there pretty good. Trying to think for a comparison between, well, let's see how it points real quick. So at least the way that it shows, and I had to clean up the lens a little bit, but definitely a bright enough dot. It's showing up to the left a little bit off center, but my luck has been pretty much half and half when it comes to, in particular, needed to adjust. So, but of course, gonna confirm it at the range and all that. So I'm just making sure how I could point it correctly, just so I can end up showing you here. So there you go. So pretty bright. Let me go ahead and lower it. Very tactile buttons. I'll give them that. And they have like a recess in them so that you don't hit it accidentally, which is really nice because I tend to carry my 226 on the 3 o'clock position. So this would kind of be my ideal brightness right here. There you go. And not so much that I would call it backup irons, but it lines up pretty good with the irons that are there right now. But again, seems a little off center to the left, so I'll go ahead and adjust it. I think this is a pretty good upgrade from the Romeo Zero, and it looks very well on the 226 that I could imagine. Although it's making me think I should have went with the black grips, but that's okay. A little bit of color didn't hurt anything. All right, you got any ideas? You got any thoughts, questions, concerns? Always feel free to bring it up. But yeah, I'm liking where this is at right now. This is leaning me closer to the Holosun for my next purchase, just to see how it goes. Any mic issues, forgive me on that. Still working together with the mic is pretty new for me. And one thing I did forget to mention was that inside the manual was the cleaning cloth. So there you go there. All right. Take it easy. Later.